Mensaje para la comunidad latina.
Oh, gracias. La comunidad latina es tan importante en esta elección y en nuestro estado en general. So, necesito su apoyo. Con su apoyo vamos a ganar esta elección. Esta semana, miércoles, es tan importante. Con su apoyo vamos a ganar. Y entonces voy a trabajar duro para su familia y nuestros estados.
But we're going to change that. 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 We are going to change that. When we all go to the polls on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, starting at 6, and elect the first African American from New Jersey, national mayor who's done such a great job for the city of Newark, and he will be representing us within 15 days after that election. And the United States Assembly, I present to you our next U.S. Senator, Mayor Cory Booker.
Thank you very, very much. I just want to say first to an extraordinary servant and leader, but more importantly, as she showed me yesterday by reaching out to me in my time of trial, I just want to thank Senator Poe for her love and her service. Thank you so much. I know Senator, soon-to-be Governor Bono was here, and I want to thank her as well for her continued steadfast leadership. I want to thank, of course, Vice Chair Lizette Delgado. I know Senator Gill was here. I want to thank her, and then, of course, an extraordinary man over my right shoulder here who has been, I don't want to say that he's that old, but he's been like a father figure to me. He is indeed the leader of our party in the state. Would you all give one more round of applause for Senator Turk? Look, I have to tell you, one, how grateful I am to stand here. I want to just thank, real quick, my family who has rallied here. My brother, Cory Booker, the better Booker. Would you raise your hand? And right in front of me is my aunt and uncle, my mom's siblings, my Aunt Marilyn and my Uncle Butch. Now, I just want to say from my heart, it's been a difficult 2 days. My father died this week, and so it's still sort of fresh, and my mom will be heading here soon. I'm so grateful to have my aunt and uncle here. I'm so grateful to have my brother Cory here. I didn't see my cousins, Marcella and Danny are here. Danny, raise your hand. Marcella, thank you for being here. So I just, I had some prepared remarks for today, but I just want to speak a little bit from the heart and really say just two very important things. First of all, I want to say about my dad. I am here today because of love. And to have a father in my life, I know, was probably amongst my greatest blessings. And I got into politics because my father made it very clear to me. He got to where he was in life, not just because of hard work and discipline and struggle and determination. That was all true about my dad. But he also says, and never forget, son, that I also got here because of the incredible love, activism, engagement, and leadership of other people. And you all know this story because it's an American story. It is your story, it is my story. Most of us here know, whether it's ourselves or our parents or our grandparents, we were all poor. We all came up the rough side of the mountain. All of our families had to make a way out of no way. There's not a person here that should be walking around like somehow you are ordained to be who you are and where you are. We're all here because of rebellious love, because of unyielding love, because of indefatigable love. And I suspect that this room is packed right now on a Saturday morning when you all could be in bed, could be watching TV, could be spending time. Who said sleeping? Could be sleeping? I feel that. My aunt says shopping. But yet you are here, packed together, eating some eggs, and I don't even know if they're cold already, but you all here. So let's tell the truth. My father truly told me as a boy, he said, first of all, God bless my father, but every time he told a story, it was more interesting than the last time he told it. You know, his small town in North Carolina, you know, every time he told a story, there was a storm brewing, and the hail came, got a little bigger. I argued with him a little while ago, thou shalt honor thy mother, my father, but I said, Dad, I'm sorry, you live in the mountain North Carolina. How could your story start out with when the tsunami hit? And my father was defiant. He said, boy, it happened. It was before the internet. You can't look it up, but it happened. And so my dad would tell me he was born Poe, because he couldn't afford the other two letters. He was just Poe. And he was born to a single mom. God bless the love of women. God bless the love of women. And I want to tell you this, the greatest thing a father can do for a child is to love their mother. Right. To love their mother. My parents were closing in on 50 years of marriage. But my father, his mom didn't have a daddy around. Man that didn't take care of his responsibilities. So I'm here because people in that town stepped up and were his father. I see this now in Newark. Too many of our children do not have positive role models in their lives. And guess what? The women in our communities, you know, it reminds me of stories my grandmother told me. The older I get, the more in awe I am of women who can work a job and a half, sometimes 2 jobs, can raise kids, could not only put food on the table, but cook it as well, can be there for the child when they need to go to the doctor, can be there when there's a teacher-parent conference. There's some power that a mother has that is awesome. And so my father was able to be where he is today because of a community of people that would not let him fail. When he needed to go to college, it was a community of people who insisted he go, helped take collection in church. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. To help get him money for his first semester's tuition. And then my mom and my dad, my uncle as well, my uncle went to Fisk University, my mom went to Fisk. My dad went to North Carolina Central, small black college. And somebody knows the Eagles here. Central. And then my father, having been spawned by love, knew he got to college, knew his first semester's tuition was paid for, helped to be paid for by people in his community, lands in college, and then what does he see? All of these leaders like you, who didn't rest on Saturday, who got up and protested and organized. It was the middle of the civil rights movement. Sit-in movement started in North Carolina in '61. And there were folks, regardless of race or religion, black and white and Latino, they were gay and they were straight, they were rich and they were poor, all standing up for generations yet unborn, so that my generation would never know a segregated world, so that my generation would never ever see, with my own eyes, a water fountain that said colored only. Would never be told when I stopped at a gas station that I couldn't use the bathroom. Would never go to a restaurant and have to worry, would they serve me? That was born from the struggle and the rebellious love of thousands of Americans who did not stay at home on Saturday, who did not rest on the Sabbath, who marched and fought and protested, and it wasn't over. In the late 60s, my parents were in Washington, D.C., and please, I don't care if you're Irish, Italian, Jewish, black, Latino. There was a time in this country where folks did not welcome you in general. There were many folks that said you weren't good enough because you were a woman, because of your ancestry. And yet there were activists, my parents. My father was one of the best salesmen IBM had. He used to make their gold circle all the time. As hardworking, talented, and qualified he was, the doors were shut in his face. And it took folks to open them like you, who got up early, went to bed late, took care of their family, put food on the table, and still had time to serve their community. And when we moved to New Jersey, let's tell the truth. It was 1969. I was 2 months old. And my parents weren't shown homes in certain neighborhoods in our state. Real estate agents would steer them away. And so it was the Fair Housing Council of this state, blacks and whites, Christian Jews, Latinos, Asians, who came together, who did not rest on Sunday, who got up early on Saturday, who were there for my family to buy the home that I grew up in. Later today, we're doing a last campaign event. I'm running through my hometown. And God bless America, I love my community. But it was the rebellious love of folks like you who made it happen. And so I just have to honor my mother and father by telling this world and look down on anyone unless I'm extending a hand to help. Because someone helped me. Someone was there for my daddy. Someone was there for my grandmother. And see, where politicians want to get between women and their doctors and tell them about the medical choices they must make. And so my opponent has very dramatically different views than me. He says he wouldn't vote for Medicare. He says, and this is a direct quote, he said, I will be as callous and uncaring as you can imagine. I hate for you to get cancer, but if you do, it's your problem, not his. Well, wait a minute. If people said that to my daddy and his mama, I would not be here right now. If people said that, your problem, not mine, we would not be here right now because we would not have seen the civil rights movement, the voting rights movement. And so we have work to do. When my opponent and the Tea Party, the man made about $250,000 last year to run a campaign in New Jersey against the minimum wage. He says we shouldn't have a minimum wage. So think about this. He got paid about $100 an hour to prevent people in New Jersey from making $8.50 an hour. And so we have to understand, right now in Washington, there is an extremist part of the Republican Party who rather is so obsessed with Obamacare, would rather shut down our government than to see more people get access to health care. We have. I love that New Jersey gets to be the first election to speak out during this time. We got a special election. Governor gave me a very special election. He wanted it to be so special, he put it on a Wednesday. Some of the pundits think this might be confusing. They belittle our voters. Some of the pundits might think there'd be a little low turnout. They belittle our voters. Because I know our history. You can make it as special as you want. You can put up bars and barriers. You can give us mountains to climb. But we climb them. We will find a way or make a way. And this election is our chance to send a message to Washington and to our nation that shutdown politics don't work. To send a message to Washington that every American has equal value under the law. Send a message to Washington that we can't let some folks who celebrate the Tea Party take us back to the 1700s. And voters' rights, workers' rights, women's rights, civil rights. It is time to send a message. And I have faith in my heart that we will send that message on Wednesday. And it won't be because of one candidate, trust me. I stand here as a physical manifestation of a conspiracy of love. Let me end with this thought from my heart. I've lost now two men that made me. My uncle's father, my grandfather, a man named Limery Jordan, born in the Deep South to a single mom. His family moved north where he worked on the assembly lines for Willow Run, making bombers for World War II. He was a teacher, he was an entrepreneur, he was a business person. He helped raise me. The other man was my dad. Taught me how to shave. Taught me how to ride a bicycle. But more than that, he taught me my values, not through how he preached. You all know what the great author James Baldwin said. He said, children are never good at listening to their elders, but they never fail to imitate them. I want to end with this truth. Death may end a life, but it does not end a love. Love. My father and mother raised me in love. Not just their own, with the understanding that it's those folks who get up on a Saturday morning, those folks who get up on a Sunday morning, they are loving. Those folks like you who give a little more than it's requested, do a little more than required, love a little more than there is any expectation for you to love, because love is what has got us so far. I hate to go a little science with you, but there's something called the first rule of thermodynamics. Astrophysicists say this as well. It's the same law, same understanding. The first rule of thermodynamics says you cannot destroy energy. You cannot destroy energy. I always wonder why some people play small. God didn't create us to play small. He created us to live life out loud. We weren't born to fit in. We were born to stand out and love in an uncommon, uncharacteristic way. And so the astrophysics I'll end with is that when you look at the night sky, one of my friends told me that you see stars from billions of light years away. But the truth is, many of those stars went out millions of years ago. But they still appear as if they're there because the light and the energy and the warmth that they gave off goes on for infinity. Generations yet unborn will see the light of those stars, even though the stars themselves are dead. Election, but it's one step in a journey of love and service and greatness, because King said it, anybody can be great, because anybody can serve. And so today, as I still mourn the death of my dad, I want you to know that I still feel his warmth. But not just his warmth. I feel the warmth of those people whose names I don't even know, who put $2 in a collection plot even though they only had 3. I feel the love of those people whose names I don't know, who sat in and marched and freedom ride for me. I feel the love of people whose names I don't know, who helped a family from Washington buy their house here in New Jersey. I want you to know that I feel the light and the warmth, and that through me, I hope that my children and my grandchildren who will never meet my dad will know his love. And I tell you this, the years we all have is brief. God can call us home any day. And so let's not waste that time. Let's love with all of our hearts, with all of our might. Let's take those people that need love and grab them by the collar and say, I'm going to love you so much it might just hurt a little bit.
4 days away from now, remember I was speaking about it earlier, 4 days from now, Wednesday, October 16th, the only Senate candidate that is running for the U.S. Senate who was a pro-woman candidate is Cory Booker. That is who we have here today. Let us show him that we can make the difference, that we have the strength. Cory Booker, October 16th, Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, only 4 days away, ladies and gentlemen.
Mayor,
Hermano.
gana la elección
Sí, con su apoyo, con el apoyo de la comunidad latina vamos a ganar. Pero es una elección tan importante, tan importante.
Muy bien, suerte.
Gracias, muchas gracias.